What up everyone, you're watching Emeroy TV, the place to be to learn strategies and living your highest potential through the mind, body, and spirit, all while having fun. In this upcoming video series, I'm going to be teaching you guys how to get confident in your freestyle. Alright, so in the next few videos, I'm going to be teaching you guys how to get confident as a dancer. And this is something a friend of mine from Facebook asked. And I really didn't have an answer right away because it got me to reflect on how I got comfortable in freestyling, and I was so caught up in just getting better and better. I didn't really, it's not like I had the time to really process and think, step one, you do this, step two, you do this, step three, you do that. And I took these actually past few months, but she asked me a while ago, and it was something that I couldn't wrap my head around immediately because I really had to dissect everything I did from every practice, every session, every class I taught, and every performance. And I really had to start taking note of everything. And ultimately, when it comes to individual dancers, I feel like it's relative. But when it comes to whether it's freestyle or choreography, the process is all the same. And today I'm going to be teaching you guys a 3-phase progression cycle. No. We just did that. So the 3-phase progression cycle is pretty much the 3 phases you go through in terms of your growth as a dancer. It doesn't matter if you're a beginner, you're intermediate, advanced, or a master. You can still go through these cycles and still improve and continue growing. Step 1, step 2, step 3, get phase 3. You get the feedback, go back to phase 1, and continue growing. It's almost like a growth cycle. So when it comes to freestyling, it scares the crap out of practically like 80% of dancers, and it's almost like saying, hey, tell me a funny story. And unless you know a really funny story or you have rapport with the person, you might just bomb. And I think it's a little similar with dancing. I created this whole phase because I wanted to create a system that constantly challenged me, or I constantly felt like I was improving, and something that I can pass down to my students. I wanted to teach them a step-by-step approach to constantly improving. Okay, not just constantly teaching them the routines, not constantly teaching them just moves to practice. I wanted to show them how to get better in not just learning the moves, but being able to perform them. So this process was pretty much inspired by Robert Greene's Mastery and Josh Kaufman's The First 20 Hours. 2 extremely dope books I recommend you guys to check out. So this is the same exact process that I use not only for b-boying, but for also for personal training and for working out and for whatever skill that I'm looking to learn. And these are pretty much principles that you can use and apply to any other skill. The methodology may change depending on the skill, but the principles stay the same. Alright, so let's get on to the 3 phases. Okay, the first phase is the mechanical phase. So this is pretty much where you're learning a lot of the rules, a lot of the technique. It involves a lot of thinking. Okay, and it's probably one of the slowest phases because you're focusing more on the technique and make sure you're getting it right. And pretty much getting a first-hand overall feel of the dance. The second phase is more the creative active. This involves both thinking and being creative. This is where you start experimenting and playing with the moves so you can create your own flair. That way you're just not being another cookie cutter dancer. You're starting to discover your own uniqueness and how you can express yourself through the dance. And the third phase is the freestyle experience, or the pressure situation. It's pretty much no thinking, all instinct. This is where your ability to execute is tested, because how well you perform is going to reflect how well you actually practiced. If it's just going through the motions, you're probably not going to perform that well. But if you were intentional and focused on each practice session you were in, okay, you're more than likely going to kill it. And then from there, you take the feedback that you got, whether it's self-notes of thinking, oh, I should have done this better, and you take it back to phase 1 and start focusing on the technique and cleaning it up, going back to phase 2, being more experimental, seeing how far you can take it again, then back to phase 3, just going all out, not thinking, all instinct. Okay, so throughout each phase, feedback is important. It's going to help us improve that much quicker. But at the same time, don't be so reliant on it that you're thinking every single thing sucks. Okay, feedback is just a tool to help you improve. Not all feedback is useful, but in terms of improving quicker, it's also critical. So a couple ways of getting feedback is going into a cipher or a freestyle circle. The second way of getting feedback is finding a mentor, finding someone who's much more experienced than you and asking them to give you feedback based on what they see and what their experience is. Third way is my personal favorite. It's pretty much recording yourself. So you're pretty much recording yourself, do the moves, okay, and then you stop, see where you need to improve, or if you don't see where you need to improve, get someone who's more experienced, have them look at it, give you feedback, and then you take that feedback so you can use it to continue improving. Generally, I like filming myself because it's almost like looking at gameplay footage. I get to study how I'm doing the moves, seeing where the sticking points are, and then improve upon them on the next practice. So when I first started learning how to lock, all I did was look through YouTube because I had no idea of any studios that taught locking. And when I made it to Culture Shock LA, I got to train with Sunny, D-Lock, and Jiminy. Okay, and the biggest feedback that they gave me was I was dancing too fast and I needed to slow down. And the feedback I got from that made a huge impact on my dancing. If I hadn't gotten that feedback, I probably would still be making that same mistake of dancing too fast or out of control. So the fact is, you might not look that good at first, and that's okay. And it might be scary going into the cypher. That's okay. I still feel scared every single time I'm about to go in. Whether it's just in my class or just doing a show, it's still scary. But the way I teach it, it's almost like jumping into a pool. Okay, it's gonna be cold as heck first, but the more you jump in, the more you warm up to it. And the next day, you know it's cold, but you jump in anyways. So this three-phase progression cycle is something that you can use for constant growth, whether you're a beginner or someone who's more advanced. Eventually, you'll get to a point of just trusting and letting go. These are the same exact principles I teach for my How to Break Dance for Beginners course. So now I want to hear from you guys. What's the biggest insight that you learned from today's video? Let me know by sharing a comment down below. Now before I go, if you guys want to get a jump start on learning how to dance, make sure to check out my free online How to Break Dance for Beginners workshop. I teach you guys foundation of everything you need to know and a simple formula of how to put it all together. Now, if you like this video, make sure you hit like, subscribe, and share this with a friend who you think might benefit from it. And while you're at it, make sure you head on over to the blog, subscribe to the free newsletter so I can give you guys insight and more beyond Emeroy TV. And if you want to connect, you can find me on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, or over at the blog. Now, we're all called to greatness, whether it's the lowest point of our lives or the highest point of our lives. From moment to moment, we all have the choice to live our highest potential. But at the end of the day, it's really up to us to choose. The world needs your greatness to shine. Thanks for watching Emeroy TV. I'll catch you guys next time.
If you've ever wanted to learn how to break dance but don't know where to start, don't live anywhere near a dance studio, or just feel like you're too shy, stop. Because having worked with students of all ages and sizes, dancing with crews such as Culture Shock, Family Business, Mixed Elements, and Hit the Floor Productions, I know what it takes to go from zero to B-Boy Hero, and so will you when you join me for my free online workshop. Click here to register now. You'll learn 8 dance moves to help you get started right now, 3 routines showing you how to put everything together, exercises and tools to help you improve your strength and endurance, and resources I use for consistent growth.
So